Going to call the meeting to order. It is now 9 p.m. I'm sorry, 7 p.m. Whoa. It's been a long day.
Late start
journey.
This is the regular meeting of the Kaneland Board of Education. We'd like to inform all board meeting attendees that this meeting is being live streamed and archived for access at any time by our community members on the internet within 24 to 48 hours of the meeting's conclusion. Mr. McCauley, Pledge of Allegiance, would please.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
And a roll, please. Attendance.
Mr. Mankowski.
Here.
Mr. Cook.
Here.
Dr. Lawler.
Here.
Mr. McCauley.
Here.
Mrs. Simmons. Here. Mr. Stallcup.
Here.
Mr. Kleisner is absent.
With 6 members present, we have a quorum. Is there anything the board would like to move from consent to new business? Hearing none, I will entertain a motion to approve the agenda as presented.
So moved. Second.
And a roll call, please.
Mrs. Simmons. Aye. Mr. Cook.
Aye.
Dr. Lawler.
Aye.
Mr. Stallcup.
Aye.
Mr. McCauley.
Aye.
Mr. Mankowski.
Aye. Motion carries 6-0. The agenda is approved. It is now time for board/superintendent salutes. I'll turn it over to Dr. Rowling.
All right, thank you. So first off, as we saw just prior to the meeting, we are saluting many of our new staff members that are able to join us today, and then those that are not. Prior to the meeting, many of our new staff members had the opportunity to meet with the Board of Education. I want to take a moment to salute all of our new staff members and thank them for the positive impact they've already had on Kaneland. This is the first group that I got to meet with new teacher orientation, and it was an absolute pleasure to go around and see all the smiley faces before the school year started, ready to start on a new adventure. We are really excited to have this group on board, and I really look forward to working with you for a long time. And it was fun to hear as I kind of bounce back and forth. A lot of people talk about feeling connected, feeling supported, and the fact that we're still able to do these types of meet and greet things and able to connect with each other. I'm able to connect with all the staff members. That's really kind of what makes Kaneland special. So welcome to Kaneland. Excited to have everybody as a night, and look forward to everything to come. So salute to our new staff. Our second salute, I'd like to invite Mr. Davis Espy to the podium. Davis is a Kaneland grad. He has been working in the transportation department for 5 years, I believe. He is currently serving as our Assistant Director of Transportation. He will be taking over as our Director of Transportation. As you can see, I don't like to stand next to Davis because that microphone is way lower on him than it is on me. Davis, last year Davis filled in a pinch and served as our interim, did an amazing job. Davis is well-known, well-respected, and well-liked. He is a problem solver. He runs transportation with a smile, even on days where it's really hard to do that. So we're very excited for that. Davis, I don't know if you want to share anything.
You pretty much covered it all, but I'll just say, that's all right. Like I shared in the group earlier, being an alumni from Kaneland and having the opportunity to come back and serve as a staff member now is something I feel is really important, and I encourage for a lot of other people. It's such a great district to be in. It's a great place to work. The camaraderie, the friendships, everything in between, it's a great place to be here, and I look forward to continuing to serve here in my new role.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
And then I also want to recognize our principals. It is Principal Appreciation Month, and Friday was Principal Appreciation Day. So I want to recognize our principals that are in the audience. We have Ms. Aversa, Sam Aversa from John Stewart Elementary. We have Courtney Ward from Blackberry Creek. We have Leah Rosselli from Shields. We have Brian White from McDowell. We have Brian Faulkner from Harder. Mr. Faulkner is the IPA, Illinois Principal Association President-elect. So he is the president in waiting and will serve as president. It's a big deal here and in the IPA. We have Melinda Gattell from Kaneland High School. And we have Bob Gosh from Fox Valley Career Center. We have an amazing group of principals. They work hard, they work together. They are committed to making sure that Kaneland is the best that it can be. And so we're very happy to have them as our team. So. All right, that's all my salute for today.
Dr. Bogan?
Not tonight.
Members of the board? All right, tonight's consent agenda that contains the following information. 1. Oh.
Must have been something you said.
The board appreciates everyone in attendance this evening and invites you to stay as we move into the new business portion of this meeting. We understand that not everyone is able to stay for the entire meeting. We wanted to make sure you know this is an open meeting and that you are able to come and go as you need. We look forward to seeing you at future meetings. Tonight's consent agenda that contains the following information. 1, approval of accounts payable and payroll, October 2025. Approval of the minutes of the October 15th, 2025 regular meeting. Approval of personnel. Approval of the audit contract extension. Approval of the Fox Valley Career Center fees for the use of Kaneland facilities. And informational items, student suspension data report, Freedom of Information Act report, and field trip notification report. I will now entertain a motion to approve the consent items listed.
So moved. Second.
And a roll call, please.
Mr. Cook?
Aye.
Dr. Lawler?
Aye.
Mr. Stallcup?
Aye.
Mr. McCauley?
Aye.
Mr. Mankivsky?
Aye.
Mrs. Simmons?
Aye.
Motion carries 6-0. The consent agenda is approved. Public comments. We use the public comment section as an opportunity to listen to our stakeholders. The board does not debate or engage in conversation during this time. I'd like to remind everyone to state your name and village of residence for the record. Please limit your comments to 3 minutes or less. Public comment is a maximum of 30 minutes with 20 minutes total length of time for any one subject. Those who speak are asked to maintain a tone of courtesy and civility. And seeing we have none, we move on. Tonight, the Community Engagement and Finance Facility Committees met. Committee chairs, if you'd be so kind as to provide us an update and overview. Will the Finance and Facility Committee please provide a recap?
So we met and we talked about several things. We received an update from the administration, some highlights. Our state funding is down slightly right now. It usually catches up as the year goes forward. We have requested a grant for school maintenance, around $50,000, and are exploring the opportunity potentially to also have Fox Valley do the same. So that's another avenue that is being looked at. We wanted to give a shout out to the AP team that's working with Jackie just for their attention to detail and finding all the little things of when taxes are included, maybe shouldn't be, just all the detail they go through to make our finances correct first time through. We did a construction update, and I'm not going to talk a lot about it because I know Kurt's going to have some to say. So, but we did go through that. We talked about some insurance in that as part of that too. So there was more coming on that. And then we discussed capital planning for future and kind of timelines for that. So there will be more to follow.
All right. Community engagement?
Yes, so tonight we spent a lot of time talking about a possible alumni program. Not possible, we are gonna do it, but we're trying to navigate what does that look like, and the benefits of it. So really kind of flesh out what does alumni mean, what does maybe an honorary alumni look like, things like that. So tonight was a lot of brainstorming. So that is on the horizon, so because we're looking, you know, what does that look like for outreach? How do we engage with them? It's not just getting their name and number. We want them to participate in possibly classrooms, networking with our students. There's just a host of great opportunities if we can stay connected with our alumni. And so looking to do that. So exciting things to come down the pipeline for that. So do you mind if I get my health insurance committee meeting update now too?
Sure.
Okay. I'm going to do a health insurance committee update too. Usually do this in the board report, but since we're doing committee meeting note or time now, just wanted to share that open enrollment is now until November 4th. Shout out to David and our website team. And the website is just everything that staff needs is on that staff button, so make sure you go there. It's exciting news. I know it seems kind of weird because nowadays everything's on websites and you can find that, but this is new for us. This is something that anything that you need, Barb has put it on there, and if it's not there, let her know and then make sure we get that put on there. So whatever questions you have, things like that, go there first to that staff link. So David, thank you for making that website so user-friendly too. I wanted to kind of spend a little time talking about, there's been a new pharmacy change that we've implemented recently. Barb Bradford, Dr. Bogan, Patty Reeder, and the rest of the school representatives that are on the health insurance committee are fielding a lot of questions now that this change is made. The committee is putting together a communication plan, but until that, we want all Kaneland staff that are utilizing the health insurance to know that if you have a prescription that is more than, if you're being asked to pay more than the $50 copay, you need to notify Barb. Please notify Barb because that is not what that was, it's supposed to be no more than $50. So we want to make sure that announcement's out there. And along with that, if you have any other questions about open enrollment, the pharmacy, any changes that have been made, please utilize Barb. She absolutely is just the sweetest person when it comes to replying to emails, and she will help you walk through any questions that you have. So anything like that. So to all the teachers and everybody that's watching right now, please do not just accept a copay that is more than you should be paid, or if you have just some question, make sure you speak up for yourself, and we can take care of that. So thank you.
Okay. Any other committee reports? New business. First item of new business is the 2024-2025 audit report presentation for Fox Valley Career Center and Kaneland CUSD number 302. Dr. Bogan, if you could provide more information, please.
Yes, I'm going to invite Allison Kamen from Lauterbach and Amen up to the podium. Ms. Kamen is part of our audit team, and so she'll be giving a short presentation tonight. In this week's packet, there was a digital copy shared, and then tonight you also have hard copies of both Fox Valley and Kaneland's full ACFR along with management letter. And so tonight we're just going to go over, Mrs. Kamen's going to go over some high-level highlights, and then you will see this back on the consent agenda for actual approval at the November 17th meeting. So short presentation this evening, high level, and then as you take this home, have questions, please let me know. Otherwise, you will see this on that November 17th meeting for final approval. So I'll turn it over.
All right, thank you so much. I just wanted to start by saying without Jackie, we really can't put this audit together, so thank you so much for all the time you've put into answering our questions. I'm going to start on page 8 with the school district report. So I just wanted to highlight here that the district did receive their Certificate of Excellence in Financial Reporting for year 2024, so congratulations for that. From there, I'm going to be going to the independent audit report, which is on page 11. Here, just wanted to make note that there was a clean opinion, no findings. Next, I'll be going to the MD&A, which is on page 15. So here, just wanted to make note that the management discussion and analysis is really a financial overview for the whole year. It's very important to read through and understand this as well for the school district, so I highly recommend you read it thoroughly. Next, I'll be going to the balance sheet on page 30. So here, the general fund, which is made up of education, student activities, operations and maintenance, and then working cash funds. The total fund balance was about $3.9 million, which is about 51% of the total district's fund balance. The total district fund balance being about $7.8 million. Very healthy fund balances there. Next, we're going to go to the income statement on page 32. If you just flip the page. Here, the general fund did have a net decrease in change in fund balance by about $2.6 million. A lot of that just due to overall rising costs and expenses and then lower grant revenues. Your total change was also a net decrease in fund balance, about $3.3 million across all the funds. Next, we're going to go to the notes to the financial statements, which is on page 38. Here's where you're going to find all the significant accounting policies and schedules, including long-term debt schedules and capital asset schedules. The budget is going to start on page 90, but we're going to go to the management letter, which is a separate document. In this packet, if you flip to the third page, just wanted to highlight, we put across all of our clients now this IT security awareness and monitoring of emergent risks recommendation, which just kind of highlights for the district just things that we believe are higher risk areas where IT is becoming more and more of a help. It is also becoming more and more of a problem. So just some risks to be aware of. For prior recommendations, if you flip the page, there was a funds over budget comment, which has seen improvement. The transportation fund no longer has this, and then the debt service, it has gone up a little bit, but we're hoping to see improvement in the next year as well. Funds not in compliance with the fund balance policy. Here, if you compare 2024 to 2025, it has increased significantly. Part of that is just due to lowering fund balances as opposed to the budget increasing. Lastly, if you flip the page one more time, these are upcoming GASB statements, 103 and 104, which we will work with Jackie in order to implement next year. Any questions on the school district? No?
And then I just have a couple comments. One, thank you to the Lauterbach and Ammon team. But two, I would be remiss without saying, I do know how much time and effort and work that I do for this audit, but it is nothing compared to what Judy Van Bogart, my assistant, does to get everything in order and just to the auditor. So really, the thanks go to her for that. And then I do just want to highlight, we did, it's noted, our fund balance decreased by $3.3 million, and that was directly related to our revenues over expenditures, right? Expenditures exceeding revenues last year, and we had budgeted for that $4.2 million deficit. So we did end it in a better position than we had initially budgeted for. So I know, that's something that we're continuing to work on, that we're continuing to correct. So I just wanted to point that out. But over the next few weeks prior to the next board meeting, as you have questions, as you start diving into the material, please let me know what I can answer, and also our team from Lauterbach and Ammon can help answer.
Okay. Just have the Career Center.
Oh, yes.
Sorry. So in the second smaller packet is going to be the Career Center's audit. Here, starting on page 1 with the independent audit report, This was also a clean opinion, so nothing else to really comment on there. For the MD&A on page 5, very similar. It's a financial highlight for the whole year. I would also highly recommend reading this as well. Next, the balance sheet is on page 15. So here, the total fund balance is about $648,000, which is, again, a very healthy fund balance. Going to page 17 for the income statement, there was a net decrease in fund balance here as well by $139,000, again, due to rising costs and lower grant funding. Notes to the financial statements, same thing, you're going to be able to find capital asset schedules, long-term debt schedules, and then the budget information is going to start on page 38. Going to the management letter, again, a separate document. Flip to page 3, you'll see the same IT awareness recommendation, not a finding. And then the next page here, again, the upcoming GASB pronouncements, the same ones, 103 and 104, which we will work to implement in the next year as well. Any questions on the Career Center audit? No? Okay. Thank you so much.
There is no action required for the audit report presentation. The second item of new business is the approval of the 2025 tentative tax levy. Dr. Bogan, if you could please provide more information.
Yes. I do have a short presentation that we're gonna get up right now. This way. You can just go to present. Perfect. So tonight's presentation, it covers the 2025 tax levy, which this will provide funding for the 26-27 school year. Tonight, I'm just gonna go over basically the main parts, right? The levy calendar, general information about the levy and how it's used, an overview of the process itself, some key data, assumptions, and calculations, and then finally I'm actually going to start with this next, but required disclosures of current cash balances. In Illinois, they put in a law in 2022. It was Public Act 102-0895, and it requires that school districts publicly disclose their operational cash balances each year, along with any obligations for those funds. And so this table here shows Kaneland's cash balances as of September 30th, 2025. As you can see, our cash balance in the education fund right now is $38.5 million. Operations and maintenance, $5.1 million. These are higher balances, right, than we're used to seeing. That's because we've gotten our first taxes, right? So we carry higher balances at the beginning of the year, and then these get spent down. The law was really put into place because there are districts out there that carry more than 100% of fund balance to their operating budget. So that is not an issue here in this district. Any questions on that disclosure? Okay. Next, I just want to talk about our levy calendar and sort of the timeline. Tonight, we're presenting the tentative levy. We're required by law that we do this at least a minimum of 20 days in advance prior to adoption. And so we're doing that. The board will be asked to adopt the levy on December 15th. After that, the very next day, if it's approved, I will go and file it with our county clerks. And then throughout the winter and into the spring, they verify that, and then they will issue the extension. And then in May and June, the county will send out tax bills, and then collection will begin in June and July for those first payments. Any questions on that? All right. So just some general information. For Kaneland School District, I know I said this last year, and I'm sure Julianne said this the year prior, but the tax levy is primarily what funds our district. And so the levy itself is just the total amount that we're requesting for each operating fund to cover expenses for the following school year. Let me go to this. This just sort of highlights that most of our revenue really does come from the tax levy itself. It is our main source of revenue, making up 81%, followed by state at 15%, and then sort of that other local revenue at 2%, and federal at 2%. The next big part is equalized assessed value, or what you're going to see me here several times tonight, EAV. This is the property value that's used to determine our total revenue capacity after equalization at the county and state levels. Kaneland has experienced steady EAV growth every year for more than a decade. In 2024, our EAV increased by almost 13%. And for 2025, we're estimating approximately a 15% increase in total EAV. So that would be 11 consecutive years of growth. And this really matters because EAV is multiplied by the limiting tax rate, and that's used to determine our overall revenue. This is just another chart that's showing type of property. And so one of the things that we are very aware of, and we always try and keep in mind, is that for Kaneland, residential property makes up the overwhelming majority of where we get our tax levy dollars from. We don't have the commercial or even in the, the light industrial or industrial on which to rely. So it really is our residential property owners that fund our levy. This is just a little bit of history. So as you can see this chart, we went back 10 years just to show. We have had EAV growth very consistently over the years. And so seeing that consistent growth is really good for the district. A lot of times, not only are we looking at EAV, in terms of overall equalized assessed value, but we're also looking at new property. And new property is extremely important because it means that we're adding to our tax base, that it's not just increased values of existing homes, but that we have new taxpayers coming in, and so that levy is being spread between more payees, essentially.
When it says these are estimates, where are we
Yeah.
getting the estimates?
That's a really great question. So the estimates that we work off come from the county.
Okay.
So we're situated primarily in Kane County, but then we also have a portion of the school district that's in DeKalb. And so I do get information from both of our counties on their expected growth across the county. And then also all of the other taxing bodies, tax rates, things like that, so that we can do our estimates.
Okay. Sounds good.
Last year, we did estimate that new property, new construction would be 22 million. And when they actually did the final numbers in April, it was 22.5, so very close. We did have just money in what they call the balloon levy to cover that new property. So we didn't leave anything on the table for that. We can talk a little bit about the property tax extension limitation law, or what's known as PTEL. Most people refer to this as a tax cap, but it's a little bit misunderstood. PTEL doesn't actually limit an individual's tax bill or property value. It limits how much the district total tax extension can grow each year based on inflation. And that's really to try and help with making sure that it's predictable, it's stable growth when we're talking about revenue. Under PTEL, increases for existing property are limited to the lesser of 5%, or the Consumer Price Index, also known as CPI. So for the 2025 levy, which we're doing this year, the Consumer Price Index, CPI, was 2.9. So we have seen this come down. This basically means that our total operating extension can grow by no more than 2.9, not including the new construction, which is added on the top. So I think sometimes when we talk about the overall rates and it looks like it's growing, the existing property can only grow by that amount. So that's the cap on it. This is just a map showing these are all the PTEL counties throughout the state. It goes county by county, and as you notice, most of the counties are surrounding a larger town or city in the state. Our CPI growth, this just shows, you know, what CPI has been over the last 4 years. I'm sorry, I don't know why this is 4-minute, Goofy. I will get that updated before we get it on the business department website here. But we've seen growth over the last few years. In 22 and 23, it was unusually high. CPI, the Consumer Price Index, was over the 5%, and so we were capped. But last year it was 3.4, and now we're seeing it at 2.9. So we are seeing that come down. And this is just a visual of showing how EAV changes CPI and what it does to the tax rate, right? So it has that inverse relationship. Any questions so far? No? Okay. This is just a breakdown of some of that historical information, what CPI has been at, new construction, all of those different components. So this, again, all of this information will be posted on the business office department section of our website, as well as under the board meeting notes. And this is just an outline of the process, and basically the process begins with last year's extension. And so that is the starting point for how everything else is calculated. So it's based on prior year extension, what today's current CPI is, and we go from there. So it is definitely formula driven. It's not numbers that we can't ask for whatever we want to ask for. It's tied to this very specific formula. And that's how you come to the limiting rate. And so this is what why we're using CPI, the estimated 15%, the increase overall in EAV, and then our new construction dollars as well. And so this is actually the point in the presentation where I was like, I get that information from DeKalb and Kane County assessors and DeKalb County and Kane County clerks. This is an example calculation. This year, we do anticipate receiving roughly $2.9 million more than we did in last year's extension. And so I'm going to just kind of flip through. I think this is one of the things that's most important that people want to know, right? Are taxes going up? What is the overall tax rate for 2025? Not just for this year, but how does it compare to last year? So right now, we are looking at a total tax rate of $5.23 per $100 of equalized assessed value. And so it is actually 66 cents lower than the prior year. So last year, our total tax rate was $5.89. This year, it's $5.23. So it is decreasing by 66 cents. Any questions on that? And then this also, we will work on putting a tax calculator up on our site as well, because I think it's really important and it's helpful for people to be able to see that. But if we look at, last year's home at $200,000, and if that same home is still $200,000 this year, the tax bill would actually decrease annually by $266. So I did try and outline that here. If you had a $400,000 home and it was $400,000 this year, your decrease would be $532 annually. Now, the thing that the school district doesn't control is a person's home value. And so we know with inflation and other things that a home that was $200,000 last year, if it saw a 15% increase in value, that same home that was $200,000 last year is now $230,000 this year. And so what does that look like? That means that the value of the home increased, and so there would be an increase as well in those taxes. And so I do want to be very transparent about that, and so I did list an example there as well. But again, that's not a portion of this that we can control. That is the local county assessor that does those home valuations. Just to reiterate, November 17th, I will provide the board with any levy updates if there are any changes from the tentative. December 4th, we will be advertising the tentative levy on our website and also in the local paper. It's the Kane County Chronicle, Elburn edition, where we do all of our postings. And then on December 15th, we will have the levy hearing and also be asking the board to approve the final levy. And then the following day, if it's approved, I'll go file those with the county clerks. The last thing that I do want to point out is that because the district is under the state mandate of that 5%, so if you go over increasing it that 5%, you are required by law to have a truth in taxation hearing, the tax levy hearing that we're having. We are not required to do that because our levy is at 4.88% an overall increase, but historically, no matter where the district has been, we've always had the hearing, and it's just an opportunity for the public to come and comment, you know, on the process and where we're at. So I'm available between now and then to answer questions.
Comments, questions? I will entertain a motion that the Board of Education adopts the
2025.
total tentative operating levy of $63,040,000.
So moved.
Second.
And a roll call, please.
Mr. Mankivsky.
Aye.
Dr. Lawler.
Aye.
Mr. Stolka.
Aye.
Mr. Cook.
Aye.
Mrs. Simmons.
Aye.
Mr. McCauley.
Aye.
Motion carries 6-0. Tentative tax levy is approved. The third item of new business is the update from McDowell and John Shields Elementary School. Dr. Rowling, if you'd please provide more information.
Yeah, so I'm going to invite Mr. White and Ms. Rosselli to the podium. When you have a principal, when you're hiring a principal in June, July, I think at one point we were flirting with August, I can't remember, you get a little nervous. But we were fortunate this year. We hired 2 elementary principals in that nervous zone, and I think we hit 2 home runs. So the board has asked them to come and just share what their new experience has been like. I'm gonna just, before they get going, share that I've heard a lot of positives from staff and from parents. So I'll lay it up for you there. I don't know who
Rock,
wants to
paper,
go
scissors.
first.
Who's going first?
I always go first every day. I can go first if you want. So.
I'll go. Again, I'm Leah Rosselli. I'm the new principal at Shields, and I wouldn't have been able, like he said, I started in August, which is, I had already started at my other district, and so the transition was, I felt, going to be wonky, but it was absolutely seamless. Coming in, between going through all the HR stuff, it should be like HR for dummies, because that's how I feel when I get that packet from HR, but it was amazing. I mean, going to lunch with Kurt, having, you know, conversations with Chris, meeting my new colleagues, they have all been absolutely fantastic. The feeling you get when you pick up the phone and you dial and you're like, God, I have this question, and you know someone's going to answer on the other end, because that's what they do. So Fran's spectacular, Laura Garland, James, I mean, everyone answers, they help, they support, and it's been fantastic. So I appreciate this opportunity very, very much.
Can I do this? Just
Me too.
Yeah, right.
Me too.
I can echo everything that Leah said. Extremely nervous coming here.
I haven't been in an elementary school since I was in elementary school, coming from the junior high, so I knew I had a lot to learn. But I've had a tremendous amount of support, like Leah said, from lunch with Kurt, talking with Chris through all the HR stuff, Fran giving me a rundown on special education and everything that's going on, James being available for every single phone call. But being able to bounce ideas off of Leah, Courtney, and Sam has been a tremendous amount of support. And you know, I said this actually at our faculty meeting the other day, that on my way home, you know, I called Elise and she's like, "How was your first day?" And I said, "It was the greatest day of my educational career," and I truly meant that. It is so much fun being part of this district and being part of a community that takes so much pride in everything that they do, and a school district that takes pride in who they are, and what we believe in, and what we do for our students, and that is echoed throughout every person that I've talked to in this district, from Dr. Rolling down to everybody that I work with every single day at McDowell. So it's been an absolute pleasure being here, and it's truly a fun place to be.
Thank you very much.
There's no action required for the update from McDowell and John Shields. The fourth item of new business is the SIP plan presentation. Dr. Rowling, if you please provide us with more information.
I'm going to hand this one off to Dr. Horn, who will lead us through this.
All right, good evening. So each year, building principals work with their building leadership team to identify goals for that particular school year. Those goals are often folded into their own personal, professional goals as principals. What I am going to do in honor of our Principal Appreciation Week and upcoming Principal Appreciation Day, give the opportunity of our principals to speak directly to their goals that they have established. So we will begin with Kaneland McDowell Elementary.
Hi, guys. Me again. So McDowell has two goals, both focused in math. The reason behind that, as a targeted school in mathematics, we really wanted to put a lot of our focus in making as much growth and achievement as we could. So our first one, by the end of 2025-2026 school year, 59% of first through fifth grade students will meet or exceed their typical growth goal on Spring iReady Math Diagnostic, focusing on growth to then one, close that achievement gap, push our students ahead a little bit further, but then also in turn get more of our students achieving. Our second goal is a two-part goal, and it's by the end of the 25-26 school year, 53%, I'm sorry, I didn't put of students in grades 3 through 5 will achieve proficiency in the mathematics component of the IAR test. This is an inclusive and 62% of students identified as children with disabilities will achieve proficiency in the mathematics component of the IAR test. So those are both of the goals that we have at McDowell.
Thank you. Can I ask you a question before you run off?
Yeah.
Sorry. You may not have the answer, and that's okay. I just want to think about this. As you make these your target goals, I would love to know how the new curriculum is feeding into these goals, and whether or not, like, it's the goals that are driving that, is it the new curriculum that's driving that, and how those two work together. So, yeah.
I'll answer it the best that I can right now. Is we're all learning the new curriculum. I think IM is definitely a major component in the success of our students, as we have that set style of lesson in the curriculum that we're teaching every single day. So the idea behind that is the way that IM is written, there's a lot of real world examples, word problems, and heavy on the vocabulary that we're going to see both in our bigger assessments through the iReady diagnostic as well as the IAR assessment that we take in the spring. A lot of our students are having mathematical conversations in their classrooms every single day utilizing those vocabulary words. One of the things that we've talked about as a staff is that when you see the word sum or you hear the word sum, naturally in English that means a few, right? But in mathematics, sum spelled differently is actually the answer to an addition problem. Well, if we just said that, our kids know how to do addition, but it's seeing that word over and over again. So there should be a strong connection between the implementation of our IM curriculum into our students growing and seeing achievement in both iReady and IAR.
That's great. Thank you.
Mm-hmm. Wonderful. Anything else? All right, I'm going to run fast now.
So at Shields this year, we went a little differently. We have a reading goal and a math process type of goal. So our reading goal is by the end of the 2025-26 school year, the percentage that students through kindergarten through 5th will be scoring at above grade level is measured by the Rigby or the Fontes-Pinnell, which is a reading fluency assessment. They are going to take their percentage of growth and shrink it by 33%. And I know that sounds like a lot, but if you think that, say my first grade's currently at 90%, so they have a 10% until 100% at grade level for that. So 33% of that will be that 3%. So they're moving a few of those bubble students up to reading at that grade level. So 33 sounds like a lot, but when you analyze each of the grade levels, it's a very attainable percentage for each grade level. And for our math, we actually set up our teachers for some success this year with our new math resource, the Imagine IM. We created a process goal for the teachers to engage in as much coaching and collaboration with their colleagues as possible, along with feedback from myself as well as the instructional coaches. So we sort of made it fun. We made a bingo board, and they have options of what they can engage in. They can do coaching cycles, they can do collaboration, they can reach out to district office, to Lauren Vaklovic, who's helping implement the IM resource. They can work with me. I've actually done many of the formal assessments, formal evaluations in the area of math. I am a former math coach in 2 different school districts, so they asked me for my feedback as well. So we are giving the teachers as much support in that area of the new resource as possible this year. So we're hoping to see the student achievement. Obviously, that's our main purpose and main goal, but with a new resource and everyone learning how to use that resource and the students learning, like he said, the new vocabulary that goes along with it, we wanted to set everyone up for success with it. So we supported ourselves this way. Any questions?
Thank you.
Okay, for Blackberry, this is year 2 of continuing on with a math goal. We had one last year as our focus and continuing on this year. Although why it says February of 2026, this really will be looking at our winter diagnostic, which comes right before Christmas time. So we're looking to move 25% of those students that are performing, so based on that, our first iReady diagnostic, moving 25% of the students that are performing 1 grade level below up to grade level, and then looking to also do that same 25%, but for those students that are performing 2 or more grade levels below, to try to get them up to that within 1 grade level of proficiency. And again, using our iReady math diagnostic, and then tying in with that new curriculum and the vocab, hoping to see that 25%, but our long-term goal is hoping by the end of the year to be looking more at moving 45 to 50% of those students. But because of this is only halfway through the year, making it reasonable for us to attain at that point. And then our second goal is a behavior goal of really looking to reduce our behavior referrals for classroom disruptions. If we listen anywhere in the news or the world or all of those things, classroom disruptions are a topic, and every time a teacher has to stop to address those, that's classroom instruction time that we're losing. So working to reduce those by 35% by the end of the year, but in February looking to have it be 25% decrease from last year at that same time.
So I got a question for you, since my kids go to your school.
Yeah.
Have you seen, is there an uptick in the behavior referrals? Has there been a concern as to why you want to decrease this? Has there
In
been
the
a
last
trend?
couple years, we have seen an increase of those classroom disruptions, and it is, while I know like when we contact home, it's like, well, it was just a noise, or it was just a sound, or it was just a
6, 7.
yeah, it's 6, 7. It's whatever that disruption is. But if you think about it in the capacity of, if it takes 1 minute for the teacher to address that, times the 23 kids in a room, times how many days we're in a school year, if you really, that time adds up to where at the end of the school year we've missed, it could account for a whole week of instruction if you stop every time we have to stop those. And so we have seen a decrease already this school year just by implementing that one school rule. It's great for us to be able to tie back to that and the kids know it and be like, yep, I interfered with somebody's learning or those type of things. So we are already seeing an improvement in those, and we're calling on parents in the community to help us with those things. And so when we do contact home, although it seems silly sometimes to hear why we are, it really does impact our classrooms. And so we're looking for that, support from, families at home to help decrease that, to really give us back that instructional time within the classroom.
How are you measuring it?
With our Swiss referrals, so like our behavior tracking, so teachers will document that. It gets input into our Swiss system that does that. And then part of this goal is that we are working with our staff to identify, so a classroom disruption in your classroom is measured the same as it is in my classroom, as the same as it is down there. We know that teachers have different tolerances. Some teachers can have a super high tolerance and 6, 7 can go all day long. And then, there's other ones who, that very first time it said, it results in, it could be the referral. So we're trying to shore up what we constitute as a classroom disruption, how we report that out. So wherever you are in the building, the students are held to those same expectations for this tracking purpose, so that we can shore up that the same expectation in your classroom is the same as it is in my classroom.
Can you just describe for those that are listening that don't know what it is, the Swiss system, what specifically?
Yeah, so it's a piece of paper, although we have an electronic version too. It's really just the student's name, what was the infraction that was happening, and then what did they do because of it? Was it we contacted home, there was we had a conference out in the hallway with the student, I may have to come in and talk to them, there was a consequence put in place, those types of things, and then those get input into our system so that we can track it. And then we have, I have a meeting every week with we call it an SST meeting, but really it looks at the behavior referrals every week so that we can look at trends. Or is there a student that had a big uptick this week? And then diving into that, why is that? Was it, they just had a rough week outside of school, they are lack of sleep, or, there's something going on. So we try to stay on top of those things to put plans in action to help, decrease all behaviors, but for this specific goal, really those classroom disruptions.
So you do put it into like a database?
Yep.
Okay, and is that only controlled and seen by you, Blackberry, or is it across the whole district?
Within ours, I think Kurt can log in and see all of them, but for the most part, it would just be within ours, and it doesn't transfer, like we don't send it on to Harder after that or things like that. It's really just within our own, our own metrics.
So each school has their own?
Yep.
Okay, gotcha.
I'm the facilitator for the district, so
Okay.
I can oversee and add people or change it.
Okay. And as far as I call it PII, personal identifiable information, like birth date, social security number, like we're not putting that in. It's like grade, teacher, name, that's it. Okay.
Yep.
Yep, and it's just secure with PBIS programming.
In any of the programs that we use, we have a data sharing agreement that requires that they are taking specific safeguards. It's part of a recent, probably the last 5 years, a law called SOPA. So we have data sharing agreements on file with each one of these. If there's a breach, they need to let us know. They have to take certain safeguards and all that stuff. So.
Okay.
How will building administration ensure that this goal doesn't deter teachers from giving out referrals?
That is a chronic conversation we have.
Okay.
I think it helps a little bit with that within the teacher evaluations, our necessary goals aren't tied to those, so there isn't like, oh man, we only got 10 to go, I don't want to write anybody up, things like that. But really, the teachers know that the more we all work together for this common goal, the more instructional time that they are going to get back, and we continue to work on shoring up what that means, so we're all on the same page.
Sounds good.
Thank you.
Hi, I'm so excited to share our Stewart goal with you. We are in year 3. I put that in there so for those that haven't been here very long, they could look back and see what we've done in the area of writing at John Stewart. So we started with narrative writing 3 years ago. Last year we worked on reading passages at the child's reading level, and then they had to respond like with a CER response, really citing, using their evidence, connecting So we did it at their reading level. And this year we're really pushing them. We're doing it at grade level for all students. However, the practice in between those assessments will be at their grade level to continue to teach them strategies and how to read. So we noticed we dove into our IAR data from the past few years and just really noticed we were missing the different types of questioning that IAR was asking. So we just are asking their questions in a different way and in different passages. Instead of just reading a book, now they may be comparing two passages. What do they have in common? Characteristics. So we're really pushing their thinking. And so for that goal, we're going to grow by like 20% in each like grade level. We're also doing it on conventions because we've noticed conventions for the last few years, but we've also found that direct teaching is necessary in order to move the pendulum on their skills for conventions. And one thing, a little one is, I always say, like at our data chats, a lowercase I should never be alone. So we are all in our school at John Stewart not going to use a lowercase I at all. That is one of our goals, our mini goals inside. And then the next goal that I have is on feedback. So I'm excited to continue feedback in our school because I felt like the staff and the students really didn't understand what is feedback, how does it pertain to my life, how does it pertain to goals that I have. So this goal, we had our team create it, and then I gave it to a group of 5th grade students, and I said, I would like your feedback on this. This is our school improvement goal. What do I need? What am I missing? What do you not understand about this? And so it was really powerful. If you want to see that video of 5th grade students talking together, they helped me come up with the rubric as well as the visual. They gave me a lot of feedback itself on it. And so right now we are tying that not only to our writing to really show like when you do come up with a goal, you find an issue, you come up with a goal, you work on that, you implement your new learning, and then you see like, did I meet that criteria or do I need to go back? So we also talk about it in life examples like sports or activities, learning a new skill. And so we're trying to make it realistic and match with real world experiences as well, and really understanding that feedback is not a bad thing and it never ends. And so how can you continue to improve yourself or your skills in different areas? So we are looking to grow by at least 20% in this reporting. So it's self-reporting and really understanding. That's why I put the rubric up there so you guys could see kind of what makes each level, again, student created as well. So those are our 2 goals for Stewart. It should be our last year working on writing, and hopefully we have great success and results from this year. Any questions there? Awesome. Oh, sorry. I had the button. Sorry.
Hi, everyone. How's everyone doing tonight? All right. Let's talk middle school, the Harder Middle School. So the first goal is just a continuation of what we did last year. We had a reading goal, if you remember. We knocked it out of the park. However, that doesn't mean we don't continue to focus on that. So looking at the percentage when it comes to the reading goal, this is actually probably more of a stretch goal. So iReady gives us all of this information in percentages of how many students should meet their projected growth target. And they give you here's the realistic number, but here's a stretch goal. And so we decided, we're going to use some stretch goal percentages here because we believe in our students, we believe in the staff. So again, like I said last year, reading literacy is across the board. And I think we're in a good spot right now with a literacy review of taking this information and helping us better understand how it can work for our students and improve their reading skills and their literacy skills. So it's the same thing with math. We've felt the same thing with the reading goal, but now we just want to also focus on the math goal of what is it that we're doing with the curriculum review that is going to help our students become better mathematicians. And it's not necessarily, again, about like how well did you not score. It's more about the data and the information that this is going to give us to help push student growth. So we have decided, again, to focus on a reading and a math goal. And I look forward to standing here in, I don't know, May or June and telling you that we knocked it out of the park again because we have awesome people in the building.
Brian, can I ask,
You bet.
Since it is a reading and a math goal, can you tell me how you think the non-reading and math staff are going to be helping to contribute to this goal? Like
Yeah.
Arts and social studies and those kinds of guys. How
Yeah.
are they going to help out? Yeah.
So I think like reading or literacy is pretty simple, right? There's whether you're in band, you're reading music, there is a level of skill that's needed, and you do become a better reader from something like that. But when you look at social studies classes, science classes, health classes, we're all focusing on vocabulary, we're focusing on summarizing, reading comprehension. So there's that level of, as a teacher, regardless of what I teach, I want you to be metacognitive, because I know if you can do that, you can apply it to any subject that we're learning in school. So teaching those literacy skills, right? What are the different types of vocabulary strategies that we can utilize regardless of what content? So literacy is always really easy. Math, not as easy. However, you know, what we probably don't realize with math is the amount of problem solving that goes into every single subject. So you can look at science. Science is pretty easy to correlate with math, right? There are mathematical concepts in science all the time, graphing, so forth. But it's some of those other classes. But what are we doing in some of those classes? Because I can tell you in some of our health classes, they're using reasoning skills, or they're taking a problem and learning how to solve it. And a lot of the times, the students get hung up on solving that problem in the process of understanding what it is that they're doing. So if we can take that, because it's happening again in every other class, and apply it, I think it's going to click a little bit more in a student's mind of, oh, math is everywhere. In almost every subject, I'm doing something that involves mathematical concepts.
Do you feel like there's a lot of buy-in to this idea that regardless of my discipline, I'm working towards these two goals? And I'm
reading, yes. Math, work in progress. Okay. And I'm not afraid to tell you that here at this. Yeah. But it is something that we have to talk about, and it's something that we will talk about. Because I don't want it to just be like, well, I'm a reading teacher and I'm a math teacher and this is all falling on me. Because there are things, what I tell the staff though too, what we don't realize, there are things that we can do that statistically and evidence shows increase scores. And so what I kind of joked with the staff on the first day is, do you know greeting students at the door has a 22% increase in helping a student score better? Why? Why is that, right? It's because you're putting yourself in a positive mindset. So a positive mind outperforms a negative mind all day, every day, right? So it's not even just reading or math. It's some of the things that we're doing to build the culture inside of the building that can help our students succeed any subject, and even beyond academics when it comes to even social and emotional learning.
Thank you.
Yeah. All right, I'm leaving before you ask more. I'm joking. I'll take any questions. Thank you, everyone.
I always get to follow him. So, so at high school, we're by the end of 2026 school year, we will increase our percentage of freshmen on track to graduate from 90% to 94% by improving attendance, academic achievement, and engagement. So we're doing it several ways. We're also really looking at our MTSS structure, and our MTSS staff is really going into our freshman KLCs and helping them look at data. And our leadership team felt like with the freshmen on track, it really, I mean, research shows it, all of that if you have a solid foundation, you're just that much better off for graduation rate. But our teachers also feel that way too, and they want a good solid foundation for our freshmen. So this is our goal this year. Any questions?
Melinda, could you share maybe some of the strategies you're thinking to increase these things? I mean, attendance, achievement, big goals.
Right, yeah. Already started that. So I don't know if he's going to speak on it or not, but like our tardies are already down by 1,000 from last year. So we're working on our attendance already. Piece of it, like I said, we're working with our MTSS staff to go into our freshman core classes, looking at that data, helping how to strategize, and working with tier one, not just with the tier 1, but also tier 2 and tier 3. Our small groups are really looking at data and strategizing on how to best help those students out. So really focusing in on that to give that good base for our freshmen.
Thank you.
All right, thank you.
I have a question for all of them. Is that okay? So Brian, you kind of alluded to this, but I'm not sure that this is across the board, so I'm just interested. A I love the percentage increases that everybody's talking about in each one. I'm interested in why those numbers? Why not other numbers? Why 25% for this goal, 53% for this goal? So yeah, if you guys want to generally, the Bryans can take it.
I mean, I kind of answered it by, iReady gives us this number.
Right.
They say, here's the realistic goal, here's a stretch goal. So, and that's based off of trend data over the number of years we've had students take iReady testing.
Okay. Would
So
that
that's
be
how we got ours.
consistent then for everybody that you're using? Well, it can't be, right? For everybody.
For IAR,
Yeah.
what we did was we sat down and we looked at where we were at in terms of achievement from last year's 3rd through 5th grade.
Okay.
And then we took that and gave ourselves a little bit of an increase on that, typically between the 3 and 5% or percentage points of growth.
Okay.
I think off the top of my head, I believe for the math achievement, we went right in the middle of that 3 to 5%, 4% or 4 percentage points of growth in the achievement category for the mathematical component of IAR.
Yeah, good. I'm just, go ahead.
It's a little bit different at the high school.
Yeah.
So nationally wise, like 1% is usually your average growth. So it's going to be, what we're.
What growth our grade levels had to make in order to make that 100%, and we found that everyone could make an attainable goal by choosing that, to chip away a third, and a third in the next couple of years.
That makes sense.
For our iReady, we looked at the historical trends that we've had over the last 3 to 4 years and kind of where we fell within those. And then as a school improvement team, just determined what we thought was something to give us a push, but still obtainable, especially with implementing the new math curriculum this year of, sometimes we can see an implementation dip with those things. So making sure that we're still pushing ourselves, but we use the last 3 to 4 years historical data. Same with our behavior referrals with that same. What would be a good, a good decrease for us, but still something that's attainable, that we're not going too far the other way that, then it feels like we're never going to get there, right? So.
Good. Thank you for answering that. The question really was just to make sure that we're not just like, well, 25% sounds good. So I appreciate your reasoning and thank you. So I appreciate it. Thank you.
And I want to just say I appreciate the challenge, because with the new math and stuff like that, like you said, there is going to be a dip. There's a lot of first staff and then students and all that stuff. So the fact that you guys are even pushing yourself beyond the 1%, the fact that you guys have done other, higher scores than that, we do appreciate that commitment.
All right.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
There's no action required for the SIP plan presentation. The 5th item of new business is a presentation of the KHS course book on first reading. Dr. Rowling, if you could provide more information, please.
Well, I'm going to let Dr. Horn keep riding this wave, so I'm going to pass it off to him.
Good evening. Each year in the fall, we come back with a recommendation for the course offering handbook at Kaneland High School. Reason why we do that in the fall is because starting in December and going into January, our rising 9th, 10th, 11th, and 12th graders are registering for classes. So anything that is going to be credit bearing has to be approved at the local level, i.e. the school board. So this year I have the handbook before you based on new recommended classes. And I do want to highlight that there is one change to this year, and that is in the spring, the board gave the administration the request to investigate honors credit, weighted credit. So I am happy to announce that part of this presentation, dual credit. Historically speaking, advanced placement, AP classes, and dual credit did receive a weighted credit. That's not changing. In fact, we're increasing those classes as well. But other classes which were formerly known as enhanced classes are now being changed to honors classes, and we are putting forward a recommendation that those receive the honors weight as well. So what I'm going to do is walk you through the new courses for the 2026-2027 school year. And then after that, I'm going to give you an overview of the classes that we're recommending for the honors weight. This is broken down by department. So our CTE, which stands for Career and Technical Education, we are recommending a web design and development class. That class is going to be partnered with our AP Computer Science. That is a class that's already on the book. So if students are really looking to lean heavily into technology, they'll have that opportunity there. Within our English department, we are recommending that the current English 12 class be changed to the transitional English 12. The key difference from this, and this is something that's exciting, through a partnership with Wabansi, we were able to design the class such that anybody leaving this class earning a C or higher would automatically be placed into a college level English class at community college or university. Now, every university is set up differently. Some may honor this, some may not. But depending on the school, students have to place into a college level English or college level math class. That's usually done through an ACT score, an SAT score. Some schools do require a placement exam. This really streamlines it, so any student graduating from this would be able to be placed into a college level class without having to take that placement exam.
Dr. Horn, just a clarifying question, because I know I was confused, so I'm sure someone else was too.
Sure.
This is transition from high school to college, not foreign language to English.
Correct, high school to college.
Okay.
High school
Thank
to
you.
college. All right, we are also recommending a first year composition class that is a dual credit course. So this is a class that a student would be taking during their junior or senior year for a high school credit. It is also a class that a student would receive dual credit for. That means that they get a transcript from Wabansi Community College and will be able to take that class with them. In this case, they wouldn't have to worry about placing into the English 101 class because they would have already received the 3 credits necessary to not have to take that English 101 class. We are also adding a class in the math department that is an honors Algebra 1. That class is typically taken during the student's freshman year, particularly at the honors level, and an AP pre-calculus. We currently have a pre-calculus and an honors pre-calculus. We are making changes to that, based on the board's approval, of course, changes to that class to align with the College Board, so it's an AP class which prepares the students for successful completion of the AP exam, which also results in potential earning of college credit. Within our science department, we currently have a class, AP Chemistry, that's been on the books for a period of time. We have worked with Wabansi Community College and are going to be recommending that this is offered as an integrated dual credit. That means that the student has the opportunity to take the AP exam if they choose, or they just earn the credit and get the transcript. So it's up to the choice of the student. And when you get into some of those selective schools, some schools really like to see AP, some really like to see dual credit. What we're in the business of here is just providing a lot of opportunity for our students and coaching along the way. And when you really get into those niche, higher selective schools, it's really a personalized one-on-one experience when you're working with a student. Biology is currently a semester-long class. We're making changes to make that a full year. We also have a semester-long elective that we are recommending. It's an ecosphere, and that is a in-depth study of ecology and environmental science. We currently do have an environmental science and advanced placement class on the books. This would prepare students for that class and give another learning opportunity for students interested in sciences.
The chemistry would be the inorganic sequence?
It
Like your 101, 102?
Correct, yeah. It's more of a survey level class, but
Okay.
definitely prepares students for that.
Okay.
Okay. All right, so the honors courses, I do want to compliment the curriculum committee at the high school. It does have representatives from each of the departments, and this is an effort, it's a collaborative effort done in conjunction of the district office, the building administration, and the teachers on that team, along with the leadership team at the high school, which contains all of the department chairs. And I do want to give a special thank you to the assistant principal for curriculum instruction at the high school, Brian Kowalski, did a tremendous job leading this process here. The honors courses, what they were defined as, they require a high level of rigor, challenge, and creativity on the part of the students, higher academic independence through the students, with the idea of developing critical thinking and problem solving. With that, they put an evaluation process together to identify classes in existence or ones that were currently being developed and recommended that would receive this honors course weight. So the department members, they themselves identify the courses. Each department has teams working together in what we call KLCs. So for example, within the English department, there is a 9th grade KLC. There is an English 10th KLC. Those teams working closely at their grade level or content area identified what would be needed to change, to enhance, to re-envision in order to make the class worthy of receiving the weighted credit. Once that happened, the departments agreed upon it and submitted the honors course proposal. The department representatives presented the proposals to the committee, and then it was the curriculum committee itself that utilized an evaluation tool to recommend courses for approval. So we do have a diverse group of classes across multiple departments that are being recommended to receive the honors weight. What I mean by honors weight, there's a 4-point scale for a GPA. Traditionally, a 4 means that you've received an A. With a weighted class, it's a 5-point, so an A would be a 5. So it allows students to get a higher GPA than just the 4.0. We have classes from CTE, the food science honors course. Within the English department, we're recommending English 9 honors, English 10 honors, Journalism 2 and Journalism 3 both would receive the honors weight. When you think about English, there are 4 required years of English that students have to take. With this recommended change, a student has the ability to get weighted grades through 4 classes they have to take through all 4 years of high school. Within the fine arts, the madrigals or chamber choir, as well as music 2 theory class are being recommended for honors. Within the math department, honors algebra 1, algebra 2, and geometry are all being recommended for honors. Within math, there are 3 required classes that students have to take for graduation. Many of the students that are going to be taking honors classes do take the 4th year, but that means that with this recommendation at Kaneland High School, all 4 years of math, students have the opportunity to earn this weighted grade. And then with world language, Spanish 4 is being recommended for honors. We do currently have an AP Spanish on the books. That is already receiving the weighted grade, and Spanish 4 is a class students take in order to get prepared for the AP level Spanish. Within the packet that has been provided to the board, it does go into depth on what this looks like for each department. So I've given you the overview. I'll take any questions, but I'm not going to go through department by department because I've given the summary to it. I do want to highlight one change that has been made to the student service page of the handbook. And I'm doing this in front of the board and in front of the community, just in the spirit of complete, being completely upfront about this change. In the current handbook, there was some language about what KIPLA, the Kaneland Ignite Personalized Learning Academy, what that expansion at the high school would look like. That language has been removed. The language has been removed because we are, as a district, not moving forward with expansion into the high school. As the board is aware, we made a change because of financial constraints to take the Personalized Learning Academy and bring it back to the schools. It's currently at Kaneland John Shields and Kaneland Harder Middle School. We are dedicated to making this the best 3-8 program that we're able to, with regard of having that within the elementary and with having it in the middle school. So we are not moving forward with the recommendation to expand it into the high school. I know that it's kind of a change in tone in what we're talking about here, but that is part of this overall recommendation, and wanted to make sure that I hit it, opened myself up for questions, and was completely transparent about that. So I've got the recommended classes, as well as the recommended change in honors weight, as well as the removal of the language, which does make it such that KIPLA does not expand into the high school. Take questions at this time.
So I'm very elated that the honors now switched to being weighted. Were any honors classes taken away as that change happened?
No.
Okay.
No, we did not take any, no.
And then the lack of science and social studies honors classes, is that because they're mostly AP classes in the higher ranges?
Science, with social studies social studies currently has the highest number of AP opportunities, starting at the freshman year. So freshman, you could take AP Human Geo. Sophomore year is not a required class. There's not a required class for sophomores to take. Then junior year, you have the opportunity to take AP U.S. History. U.S. History is a required class.
Yes.
Senior year, you have the opportunity to take AP Human or AP Government, which is a required class. So all of the years they do have an AP opportunity. Within sciences, it is similar. We have AP Biology and we have AP Chemistry. So those are two classes that tend to be required that students have the opportunity to take. We also offer AP Environmental Science as well as our AP Physics. So there are a lot of honors weighted opportunities.
Yeah,
in
just
those
making sure
departments.
everyone has an opportunity.
Yes, yes. So all different types of students, all different types of ways of thinking. And then really the opportunity here, when you expand that menu, students are going to opt to take honors or not honors for a variety of reasons. Maybe math is not their thing. They're going to be an English teacher, so they might take a regular level English class and lean heavily into AP U.S. History and the dual credit composition class. That's a choice that they can make.
All right, thank you.
Is there an opportunity in the future for art and design, graphic design, studio art, anything like that?
Yes, absolutely.
Okay.
Yes. Yep.
I love that we're moving in this direction for most of these. I mean, I think this is what we've talked about throughout the board, this culture of excellence. The way to get to excellence is to have excellent opportunities, right? And so I think this is one of those things. Yes. I'm glad to see that.
And I want to thank Dr. Horn and his team, Dr. Garland and Ms. Vakovic. They are working at an incredible pace to address some curricular needs and some areas that we have definitely needed some improvement over the last couple of years. So they've done a great job in addition to our high school team in really challenging the thinking and opening up these opportunities for our high school students. So big shout out to those teams.
All right. Thank you, Dr. Horn.
All right, thank you.
I will entertain a motion that the Board of Education approve the course book for Kaneland High School upon first reading.
So moved.
Second.
And a roll call, please.
Dr. Lawler.
Abstain.
Mr. Stalka.
Aye.
Mr. Cook.
Aye.
Mrs. Simmons.
Aye.
Mr. McCauley.
Aye.
Mr. Mankivsky.
Aye. Motion carries 5-0-1. And the course book, KHS course book is approved upon first reading. The sixth item of new business is the school calendar for the 2026-2027 school year. Dr. Rowland.
Thank you. So I'm bringing this as a draft to the board for some feedback. Over the next couple of years, our calendar will be significantly impacted by the construction going on. This upcoming summer, we've identified construction projects, most of which are not structural, not a lot of the big in-depth projects that we have slated. Summer of '27, we will have significant construction, specifically at Kaneland High School. And so we are trying to plan for that. And so what I'm bringing to you tonight is an initial calendar for the 26-27 school year. I will be bringing in the near future a follow-up calendar for 27-28 that will reflect a recommendation for an adjusted start later in the school year. The idea is to buy us a couple of weeks to help facilitate construction. So for the draft calendar for 26-27, the first day with staff would be August 10th, which is fairly in line with what we've been doing. Students starting on August 12th. Winter break would run from December 19th through January 3rd. Spring break would run from March 27th through April 4th. And then in order to accommodate the construction, we would be taking 2 school improvement days that we generally have scheduled during the second semester and pushing those to the end. And so those 2 days are what is generally referred to as the Kane County SIP Day, Institute Day, which is generally the last day of February, first day of March, depending on where it falls. And then the other one is generally the day after the Monday following spring break we have as a SIP Day. That would also be changed for this year and moved to the end. The other thing that I want to point out is in this calendar, we would have student attendance on Friday, March 26th, which is observed Good Friday for a number of our students. We would be scheduling that as an early release day to accommodate families. In doing so, it allows our students to end on a Friday. If we were to take that Good Friday as a non-attendance day, then those kids bump over to a Monday, which gets really awkward and nobody shows up. And so that would be the recommendation. Today, I'm just seeking feedback from the board so that I can bring back a calendar to take action on at our next meeting.
Yeah, so I have a small material change. This has been happening since I was in school, and I've been getting feedback specifically for the elementary schools, not pertaining to middle schools and high schools. The early dismissal days on the 13th and 14th of May and the 17th and 18th of December, it's hard for elementary school parents to facilitate childcare when it's an hour earlier, and it's just a difficulty. The high schoolers and middle schoolers are not there for their siblings who would be there, and it's a struggle for a lot of people, so just an advisory.
Okay. I can bring that back with some rationale and understand better historically why that's been, and certainly open up for conversation.
Thank you.
I know I brought this up, but my wife really pushes me on this. I mean, I know we've had the conversation. Not a fan of starting as early as we do. I haven't been a fan of it. I still feel like it's summer. It's still hot. I mean, I don't know what anybody else thinks. I mean, I know this is a conversation I have with my wife, but I still feel it's summer, you know? And when you go into school, I mean, I remember starting on the 24th, 26th, the last week, you know, and then you'd have your camps going the weeks before. I'm not a fan of that. I don't mind if they go up until, you know, the week after Memorial Day weekend. I mean, that was just normal. So that's my 2 cents. I just feel like shifting, but I know you said construction's a huge aspect of it. I would just like to know if anybody else feels the same, if they feel we're starting too early, we're getting out too early, how that impacts the parents, you know, summer-wise, all that stuff, so.
We've talked about this before. I don't disagree with what you're saying at all, Aaron. I think, and correct me if I'm wrong, the reason is it like helps make the quarters more balanced. Is that right?
So about a decade, probably a little more than a decade ago, schools started to shift the calendar up. And so like when I went to school, which a long time ago, right? But we had the first semester, we had winter break, we came back, we had like a week and a half of school, and then we took finals. Probably a decade and a half ago, schools started to shift to be more of a collegiate model where you're taking finals before the break.
Right.
In order to balance those semesters fairly reasonably, because we do offer, it's really driven by the high school, right? We offer semester courses, and so you want those semesters to be fairly balanced so that if you take, what was the one we saw today? One of the ecology course, it's going to be a semester. If you take that first semester and you take it second semester, it's reasonably the same.
Right.
So we definitely can have the conversation. I think that, you know, as I identified, the next 2 years, our calendar is largely driven by construction, right? I mean, if the board really directed us to start later next year, we could. I'm gonna tell the board that that puts our construction at risk. The following year, we are likely looking at starting later simply by default as the need to do construction. I think if again, very open, if you guys want to have that conversation, I can certainly provide some models for that, really looking at that 28-29 school year where we're not driven by construction. And I can provide some models that would show, if we started at this time, what that would do to the semesters, what that would do to finals. We can definitely play with some things and have that conversation over really the next couple of years. I would caution the board strongly against moving next year back.
So you said 27, 28 is where it's gonna get pushed back.
27, 28, we really need to push it back because of, if you ask Dr. Bogan, she'd like us to push it back to October, so we can finish up all that construction. Believe me, this year is plenty hot in October too. But no, in reality, like we would be looking at a start near the end of August or the beginning of September, built around that construction calendar. So then, if we want to change our philosophical approach to when we start the school year, I would suggest that would be something we start in 28, 29, where that'll be our first year for the next. I know it sounds like it's so far away; it's really not. That would be the first year that's not driven in any way by construction.
So are you saying to get out early in 27 so that, and then start late so we have that whole summer?
Right.
Okay.
We would essentially get, by getting out early in the spring of 27 and starting later in the fall of 27, we would buy our construction crews 2.5, 3 weeks of construction time, which you'd be shocked how far that really goes when you start getting down to finishes.
Mm-hmm.
And the one thing we really don't want to do is be opening with, you know, things that are having to juggle classrooms because something didn't get done. When we're doing construction, a lot can go wrong. It's an old building. We know that there's going to be stuff we don't know that's there. Weather in northern Illinois can be fun to deal with, really in all seasons. So we really want to try to build that buffer in to allow for that construction to go as good as possible.
So the construction is supposed to start when in next summer? When?
Ideally, we would be using the 17th and 18th to wrap things up and allow vacating of certain areas where we're going to need to really vacate. And then really the idea would be construction on this calendar starts the afternoon of May 18th.
Okay.
And is in full bore by May 19th.
Okay. Makes sense.
I echo the construction is gonna be a heavy lift, you know, for both summers, but specifically all of the work that's planned in the 27, 28 calendar summer. But is it possible to gain 2 or 3 days the week of Christmas? Like when I look at this, December 26th, Christmas Eve is Thursday. Could we actually have school days the 21st, 22nd, 23rd and buy some time on one end as well? I guess I'd be interested in feedback. I know as you get into the holidays, you know, people start to lose interest, right? But I would be interested if there's a way, you know, maybe that's a way to pull the August start date back 3 days or to gain some other days on the backside.
We could explore that. I would be concerned about feedback from our parents.
Sure.
And our staff as they, you know, that 2 weeks is, I mean, going back,
Yeah,
I think,
to recharge the batteries.
to the Revolutionary War, I think we've had those 2 weeks off. So it's definitely something that is cultural. You know, we actually, one of the other things that we did look at, but we you know, thinking about the traditions and culture of Kaneland, we did look at what could we do during that Thanksgiving week. Our families really count on that week off.
Mm-hmm.
And so as we do that, one of the things we got to consider is, are kids going to actually show up to school? Right? If we create an environment where you know, we have school on a Monday and not the rest of the week, no one's coming, and that's a lost day of instruction. So, we certainly could, I would wanna maybe get some feedback from some parents and the staff, but I do think that's challenging in that it's such a cultural, like, known. You know, that it would really, I think, impact student attendance, it would impact family planning, it would impact a lot of things beyond our school walls that we can't control.
So, totally different questions, I don't wanna derail the conversation. I don't remember the rules. What are the rules if I wanna take my kid out of school because of a religious reason?
You can take your kid out of school any day you choose.
Okay. So,
You know, there are, look, I don't wanna say that flippantly, right? We want kids in school, but if we have students that miss for a variety of religious observations, for, you know, family celebrations, you know, we recognize that school is a part of a kid's life. You know, at some point we do start sending letters, like, you've missed too much school.
Sure.
But the reality is, we recognize, you know, if you have a variety of reasons you need to take your kid out of school, you need to take your kid out of school.
You had just mentioned Good Friday, and
Yep.
I know sometimes that is a conversation.
Sure,
Yeah.
sure. Okay, so we'll bring back a draft, we'll bring back a draft for consideration at our next meeting. And I think we can continue.
Can I just ask where everybody kind of stands on that? I mean, to be honest, I'm leaning, I know the projects, the construction's really starting, but I don't want you to invest the time if the full board is not in agreement. I know my wife is, you know, she's determined, and, you know, we have conversations about it. I love her. I'm speaking up on her behalf. There's probably a lot of other parents out there too that think the same, but when I had mentioned about the construction, I completely understand. I mean, I want this going. I want it to get going. So, I mean, if you're not on board, I don't want you to waste the time and, you know, set up a whole new calendar and.
To your point.
Yeah.
I think it ultimately has to come, and I hate to say this, from the state, like Wisconsin does, where law up there says your first day of school is the Tuesday after Labor Day, and you cannot start earlier than that. Until that happens, and with that, deviating too far from that will probably put many of our extracurriculars at
risk.
a disadvantage.
Yeah, that makes sense.
I'll just say a disadvantage. So until the state says something, you know.
It definitely, it has to be a state thing, because even our region, if we shift off of what every other school in Kane County does, all of our park district programs, off our sports, everything gets shifted. So yeah, you know, we like our kids back, you know, to enjoy as much summer as we can. That would be great, but there's just certain things it's bigger than just the start date. It's sports, it's summer programming, it's, you know, there's just a lot of things that we have no control over, so.
Yeah, I would echo that I've been on the board a long time. We have this conversation almost every year that we start too early. We have this conversation, and then whoever's sitting in that chair says, guess what? It's still gonna stay this way, right?
Well, and I think that, you know, moving forward, what we could do is provide the information as to what are our neighboring districts doing. I think this year, I would argue that we're a little more locked in.
Yeah.
But I think moving forward, I certainly could bring, you know, based on calendars of our Kane County neighbors, here are the dates that they are starting, to help provide the board with some perspective as to what's going on in the region. Because these things do shift back and forth a little bit.
I think that'd be interesting for when we look at, not next year, but the year after, you know, how those conversations are. Because, right, there's dead week, and when your sports start, all of those kind of things.
Yep.
All right. There's no action required for the school calendar discussion and planning. The seventh item of new business is a construction planning update. Dr. Rowling, if you please provide more information.
Yeah, so we continue to work pretty rigorously on our construction planning. Things, I know it sounds right now like things are all very much up in the air. We're getting to the point where the architects are really starting to take that feedback from our core planning groups and from our user groups to start to really, I don't think they put pencil to paper anymore. I think they're putting it all in CAD, but really start to provide some renderings that they're bringing to our groups. So the core planning teams for academics and PE athletics continue to hold their bi-weekly meetings. They're providing feedback on the master plans, talking about color strategies, talking about what classroom refreshes might look like, usage in the building. Athletics is looking at opportunities in the stadium and the field house for possible layouts and all of those things. So we anticipate that in the next couple of months we'll have something a little more concrete to bring to the board and the public. We have initial proposed playground options were presented to a core planning group and presented to our principals, and so we are awaiting some updates on that.
Are we getting rocket ships? Didn't the kids want like whatever?
One of them. There was a call at one school for a splash pad.
Oh, that's what it was.
A splash pad. Unfortunately, we're not going to be able to do splash pad. But we do have our user group meetings. They're happening pretty regularly on Wednesdays with our high school staff to talk about different areas of the building, different specialties, how they want these things laid out, and that schedule is pretty booked for the foreseeable future as we do that. And the steering committee is evaluating the scope of work for 2026 to determine what, if additional work might be possible to be wrapped into that. That is still very much up in the air. Once we have decisions on if we can move anything up, we'll definitely bring that to the board. As we move forward, we are going to be determining next steps with our playground projects, determining what, if any, additional work could be pushed into 26, and adjusting plans and timelines accordingly. Establishing a timeline for meetings for user groups focused on furniture. We have a subgroup focused on classroom furniture for right now. We will be engaging in kind of our specialty classes as we move forward, but right now we're focused on that, what I would say like general use classroom. And so we're working with them, and then we will continue to meet with the core planning teams to drive that work forward. Any questions?
I'm telling my daughter no rocket ships.
All right. No rocket ships.
Or splash pads.
No splash pads.
Both.
No, there was a rocket ship.
Oh, there was. Okay.
Yeah. Okay.
All right, there's no action required for the construction planning update. It's now time for the superintendent/board report. Dr. Rowling, do you have anything to share?
Oh boy, do I. School Psychologist Week is November 3rd through the 7th. We have a crew of hardworking psychologists here at Kaneland. We will be recognizing them through our salute process at our November 17th meeting. Fox Valley Student of the Month Awards for October. The Kaneland students receiving the award include Jack Nievenhoven for cybersecurity, Nick Warner for welding 2, Maddie Anderson for Foundations of Ed 1, and Joshua Carther for Foundations of Ed 2. Additionally, congratulations to freshman Macy Jug for qualifying for the IHSA Girls Cross Country Sectional. And congrats to our boys cross country team for qualifying as a team for the IHSA sectional. Their finish was led by sophomore Carson Kaiser, who took the individual regional title by a pretty good margin. There was no one else in the chute when he came around the corner. He cruised to a finish there. Sectionals will be held this coming Saturday at Lakes Community High School. Congrats to our Marching Knights for their 3rd place finish at the U of I competition this weekend, wrapping up their competition season. They do have a showcase this Tuesday at 6 at Peterson Fields, correct? At the stadium, yep. Okay. Football ended the season 7-2 and will host Lakes Community High School in the first round of the playoffs Saturday at 5. So I'm looking at my high school principal, make sure I got all these times right.
It's here, right?
It's a
So
busy
hopefully-
time of year. Found out today that junior Angelina Gochis wrestled in the Brian Keck preseason national championships this weekend. She placed first in the preseason national champions. So we hope this is a great kickoff to her upcoming season, where she will be defending her 2 state titles and seeking a third. As Ms. Catella mentioned earlier, the high school has been working hard on tardies, and she shared with us, I shared with the board in an update, in the first quarter, they have reduced tardies by 1,000 tardies, which we estimate at about 5 minutes per tardy puts significant learning back in our classroom. So big shout out to the high school team, administration, teachers, security guards, really keeping those hallways clear and moving. And then finally, parent-teacher conferences are going to be held next week, November 5th and 6th. And I know that Sophia's going to hit on that too. So
She said you stole all her stuff.
I didn't steal all her stuff. I looked at it.
Good evening. I hope everyone just has had an amazing week. Last week on Thursday, Student Council hosted their annual blood drive where many students and teachers volunteered to be donors. I unfortunately was not one of them. But by doing that, a lot of them were rewarded $10 e-gift cards and then other treats. Along with that, varsity football, cheer, dance, marching band, and football all celebrated their senior night and last week and just had successful seasons overall. Volleyball will start their regionals tomorrow, October 28th, against EMSA in Longwood, while varsity football team ended their season last Friday, defeating Aldoft Catholic 55-28, and will start the regional play on Saturday, November 1st, hosting Lakes High School at 5 p.m. Coming up, we have parent-teacher conferences for the high school next week, November 6th and 7th. Students will have those days off, and then information will be sent out to parents if interested. Students are just adapting like always, and I feel like recently I've seen a lot of kindness just within the high school. Like, I don't know if it's the holidays coming up, but I just feel like kids have been really nice to each other. So that's always good, and happy Halloween. Thank you.
Nothing this evening.
Members of the board. All right. Are there any topics for future agenda that the Board of Education would like to discuss?
I have one for contemplation. What about community service opportunities as a board to bring for discussion?
Yeah, I've been interested in that for a while. Just I think the high school does have a community service board that they have, but making something more formal about it.
So are you talking about making this having a community service requirement or incentive for students? Is that the topic you're?
I'm open to the discussion. I mean, how we maybe pick something and do as a district-wide that we can push to all schools, or maybe a specific school, or just how we enhance that. Maybe we have a school pick something individually, and just open for discussions about what it might look like.
Yeah, this goes directly into engaging with the greater community and bringing everyone into the fold.
It's great.
It's definitely something we've discussed as a small group too, is an opportunity to come together as a Kaneland community and do something. So we can definitely bring back some suggestions.
Any other? All right. It is now time for the second round of public comments. None.
Oh, can I say something?
Sure.
Hi. Okay, so.
Sorry.
Oh,
You gotta go to the microphone so they can hear you at home.
Oh, that's horrible. But I can't stand long, so I have to sit. I wasn't planning on saying anything, but I did start wondering when you were talking about grants. I know the majority of the funding comes locally and you have some state funding. Do you have any sort of, I mean, I guess I'm not supposed to ask a question, but my question is, do you have any sort of contingency planning for if there are problems with federal funding, like with the changes with the Department of Education, specifically primarily with disability services, or if we have changes because of, maybe Illinois in itself not getting as much funding? I don't know. If that's not something you can answer, it's something that I think would be good to plan for.
We can definitely reach out to you with some information.
Okay, thank you.
Any other comments? The Board of Education is scheduled for a closed session to discuss the Illinois Open Meetings Act, Section 2, Sub C, Sub 9, where we anticipate action to be taken following the session. Once the closed session has concluded, the recording will include the action taken by the Board of Education planned for this evening. I will entertain a motion to go into closed session to discuss easy. Section 2, Sub C, Sub 9 at 8:51 p.m.
So moved.
Second.
Yeah.
And a roll call.
Mr. Mankowski.
Aye.
Mrs. Simmons.
Aye.
Mr. Cook.
Aye.
Dr. Lawler.
Aye.
Mr. Stallcup.
Aye.
Mr. McCauley.
Aye.
6-0, we are into closed session. 6:20 PM, and we are back in open session. And when we will take action on Open Meetings Act, Section 2, Sub C, Sub 9, Student Discipline. I will entertain a motion to either A, uphold the expulsion of student 2025-2026-01 in abeyance for the remainder of the 2025-2026 school year and the 2026-2027 school year.
So moved. Second.
And a roll call, please.
Mr. McCauley.
Aye.
Mrs. Simmons.
Aye.
Mr. Cook.
Aye.
Mr. Stallcup.
Aye.
Dr. Lawler.
Aye.
Mr. Mankivsky.
Aye. 6-0, the motion is carried. It is now 9:21 PM, and I will entertain a motion to adjourn the meeting.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All opposed? The ayes have it, the meeting is now adjourned.